I think in terms of this point in time, this context, a land war in Europe, the importance of the agreement is really to ensure that there is progress, practical progress. I mean, you will have seen the statement I made last week. My view, in particular on the association, is that it's time for the Kosovan government to come up with a draft statute. That should be based on the Prime Minister's vision, if they so wish.
I remember you were consistent on this even first time you came for an interview here.
So it doesn't go away.
So it's 3 years ago you said to me that Kosovo must do it.
Yeah, I've said it to quite a few people since.
Yeah, and in the end we end up with that situation. But can you tell me, in little moves, did Kosovo make a mistake by first allowing the draft statute to be made out of people that it inherited from last governments and then dismissed them? Was that tactical mistake?
So there's a thing in psychology which is called woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
And is, we would have done that, we should have done that, we could have done that.
Okay.
It is of no value, either in international relations or in politics. The reality is the reality we live in now.
Okay, so what to do now?
So I was going to say, there's no point in regretting the decisions. What I would say is there needs to be greater acknowledgement that those agreements were made and that Kosovo signed up to them.
Oh, there's an acknowledgement. You've had the biggest critic of that agreement sign this agreement. So I don't think international community can complain that Kosovo's side has not ingested something that was refusing to.
Let's be clear. The Kosovan government, Prime Minister Kurti, offered to sign, but President Vučić said he would not. So the Kosovan government has not signed an agreement.
It offered to sign whenever you guys are ready. Kosovo government offered it
whenever
EU is ready. I mean, so it's a big step. Is it recognized in the West what a big step this is? No,
because it's not a signature. In the same way, it was not a signature from Serbia.
Well, there was no offer to sign it. Prime Minister said he would sign.
So we're not comparing offers. There are two Brussels agreements that Kosovo has signed, that Kosovo as a state is committed to. There are people here who have come into positions of responsibility in the Kosovan government who are not happy with that and would really rather not recognize those signatures. That isn't how international relations works. The state of Kosovo is committed. If you take on a position of responsibility within the state of Kosovo, you have to accept that the state is committed.
Well, it's committed again.
So the state has committed to an association.
And the Prime Minister committed again, said Prime Minister, who as opposition leader was against this agreement, said, right, I commit myself to sign what previously you in the Brussels agreed. So why aren't we rewarded? Let me put it more bluntly. Why isn't Kosovo rewarded for having done this?
So what's the reward?
Reward? What is the reward?
What is the reward?
For Kosovo to enter the Council of Europe, at the very least.
So we were very clear that Kosovo's membership of the Council of Europe should not be linked to the dialogue. I don't believe it should. The United Kingdom government doesn't believe it should. We believe that Kosovo, as a state, has a right to be a member of the Council of Europe.
Okay, I'll tell you another reward. The reward would be what people would expect, people on the ground, on the street maybe, would expect that when Vučić continues his campaign to stop Kosovo's entry into Council of Europe, because part of the agreement is not to stop Kosovo entering international organizations, then the West would say, hang on, this is unacceptable.
So you are entering into the ambiguity of the agreements, which don't specify when the implementation starts.
So we can continue posing, going to Ohrid, going to Brussels, posing that we are negotiating, but continue to block, and commitment will not count for anything?
No, I mean, I think, again, let's come back to the reality of where we are. The reality of where we are is that international attention is not going to continue on Kosovo forever. Kosovo does not own the timetable on this. There's a war in Ukraine. At some point that will come to an end. There are crises elsewhere in the world. Look at Sudan. International attention is not going to stick with this issue. Now is the time for the Kosovan government to take the initiative to come up with a draft statute based on what it thinks it can offer to move the issue of the association forward. We do not believe that the association has to be the prerequisite for anything else. But that again is for the European Union and for Special Envoy Lajčák to work out how to move things forward. Now, I think the best way is Kosovo engaging fully, coming up with that draft statute and then negotiating sincerely with the intention of completing this. My preference, of course, would be to complete it this calendar year. Let's get this out of the way. We need to move on. Kosovo needs to move on. Because the risk is that Kosovo will find itself in an area, in a limbo, in an area where there is no progress, and frankly the international community decides it has better things to do. And that is a dangerous place to be.